Good morning, everybody. Shift Your Mindset here. And today's episode will be about, are Jehovah's Witnesses prophets? Are they false prophets? Or aren't they prophets at all? I was intrigued because someone commented on the latest video of me saying that the governing body doesn't teach that they are prophets that foretell the future. But let's see and let's find out, because the governing body is telling us that they are the only channel on earth who are directed by God, who get information from God. Spooky, the door opened itself. But is that true? So, are they calling themselves prophets? Yes, they're calling themselves prophets. Why? If we look at the Kingdom Watchtower 52, Aids for Understanding Prophecy, the Watchtower 9 announcing Jehovah's Kingdom in 1952, it says, "No amount of persecution will deter the modern prophets of God from fulfilling their commission as a cloud of witnesses to the supremacy of Jehovah God." So they're calling themselves the modern day prophets. Watchtower 72. Yes, the time must come shortly that the nations will have to know that really a prophet of Jehovah was among them. Actually, now more than 1.5 million persons are helping that collective or composite prophet in his preaching work. And well over the number of others are studying the Bible with the prophet group and its companions. So it's like the minions. The governing body doesn't hold back. They call themselves prophets of Jehovah. Not convinced? Another one. 2023 Watchtower. To keep receiving Holy Spirit, we must also not treat prophecies with contempt. Prophecies here refer to messages produced by God's Spirit, including those concerning Jehovah's Day and the urgency of our time. We go on. Awake, 1986. You will be interested to learn that God has on earth a people, all of whom are prophets. So all the Jehovah Witnesses, that one religion, are all prophets. In fact, they are known throughout the world as Jehovah's Witnesses. So all the Jehovah Witnesses are prophets. Prophets of God, with at the top level, the top dogs, the governing body. Only they have the information what's needed. But a prophet, we know a lot of prophets in the scripture, but one question I have for everybody who is watching, and they can't answer that question till the day of today. That whole thing is based on an organization. What are you doing in that organization when they are saying to you what's going to happen in the future, but it's not coming true? What are you gonna do? And what sense do I want to make? The sense I'm making is the whole history of the Jehovah's Witnesses as an organization is based on false prophecies. And the one question they can't answer is, what are you doing in an organization that has it continuously wrong? Why? Because if I go to Deuteronomium 18:22, is when the prophet speaks in the name of Jehovah, in the name of Jehovah, the governing body is speaking in the name of Jehovah, they claim, and the word is not fulfilled or doesn't come true, then Jehovah did not speak that word. The prophet spoke it presumptuously. They should not fear him. How will we know, 21, that Jehovah has not spoken the word? Jehovah hasn't spoken the word if the prophecies doesn't come true. And do we have the evidence of prophecies who doesn't come true? Yes, we have. So what are you doing in that organization? The one who commented said they are not foretelling the future. The governing body doesn't teach that they are prophets. We established that one. They do. They do tell in every magazine I just read that they are prophets. That they are Jehovah Witnesses, the prophets, the modern day prophets, etc., etc. Are they foretelling the future? Let's just stick to the facts. Okay? Yes, we're sticking to the facts. Because your whole religion is based on people who led the organization. We had Russell, then it went wrong, in my beliefs, with Rutherford. All those things are still in place that he invented. Then we had another, then governing body, etc., etc. But answer me the question, why are you following an organization of false prophets? Because Deuteronomium is clear. Jehovah didn't, what it was? Jehovah, the word, how will we know that Jehovah has not spoken the word if it's not coming true? And what is not coming true? Everything from Rutherford on is not coming true. So the last more than 100 years, things are not coming true. Oh yeah, but you're just bad-mouthing Jehovah Witnesses, blah, blah, blah. They go defensive and everything. So, just let us see some quotes from your own scriptural magazines. Between 1918 and 1925, Rutherford Watchtower was promoted the earthly resurrection, and it would commence in 1925. So we already established that Jehovah Witnesses or the governing body are prophets. Are they foretelling the future? We're gonna test this one out together now. What then should we expect to take place? I quote, "The chief thing to be restored is the human race to life. And since other scriptures definitely fix the fact that there will be a resurrection of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and other faithful ones of old, and that these will have the first favor, we may expect 1925 to witness the return of these faithful men of Israel from the condition of death, being resurrected, fully restored to perfect humanity and made the visible, legal representatives of the new order of things on earth. And I bought them a few Cadillacs and other big cars from the Watchtower money, so Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob can cruise around town listening to the music." That part was my addition to the quote of millions now living will never die, page 88. So if you don't believe me, research, start your critical thinking. Here, Rutherford said there will be a resurrection, and the faithful ones of the old, like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are gonna return from the condition of death. Another quote, as we heretofore stated, the Great Jubilee cycle is due to begin in 1925. At that time, the earthly phase of the kingdom shall be recognized. Millions living will never die, page 89. The year 1926 would therefore begin about October the 1st, 1925. We should therefore expect shortly after 1925 to see the awakening of Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Melchizedek, Job, Moses, Samuel, David, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, John the Baptist, and others mentioned in the 11th chapter of Hebrews. The Way to Paradise, 1925, page 224. That's a lot of Cadillacs, Lincolns, and other expensive cars, because many names. So this is clearly from your own literature a prophecy that they are going to be resurrected in 1925. The Bible and the Bible in Stone give the date 1914 for the beginning of the Great Change. History proves that the Ulster proceedings began promptly on time. Prophecy indicates that 1925-1926 will see the greater part of the ousting completed. All the world's statesmen are dreading the next few years. Outrageous predictions. The Way to Paradise, page 220. When you take up more advanced study of the Bible, you will find that the year 1925 is particularly marked in prophecy. It's getting weirder and weirder. So your foundation, your religion is based on people who predicted paradise on earth already in 1925. And you're telling us that we are crazy and that they aren't prophets, they don't claim to be prophets, and foretelling future events? Wake up, people, wake up. Another one, a bulletin in October 1920, included an outline. Good morning, how you can introduce yourself in 1925. Good morning, do you know that millions now living will never die? I mean, just what I say, that millions now living are never gonna die. The Finnish Mystery, the posthumous work of Pastor Russell, tells why there are millions now living who will never die. And if you can keep alive until 1925, you have excellent chances of being one of them. It's an actual fact, stated in every book of the Bible, foretold by every prophet in the Bible. How can you make such an outrageous claim, people? And they go on and on and on with quotes about this. It's definitely settled in the scriptures, marking the end of the typical jubilees. The year 1925 is a date definitely and clearly marked in scriptures, even more clearly than that of 1914. So 1914 is less important. 1925 is clearly more marked in the scriptures. This is a quote from the Watchtower, 1924, July 15, page 211. And why do you think the governing body is deleting everything before 1950? Because then people know that the whole religion, the whole foundation, if we quote the scriptures, I've been stoned to death with that stupid scripture about building your house on sand and building your house on the rocks. Yeah, everybody knows that it's better to build a house on the rocks. You need a solid foundation. And JWs, your foundation is built on castles in the sky, on nothing, not even on sand. Because this clearly shows us that the whole foundation of the religion, with C.T. Russell and Joseph Rutherford predicting the future and future events. Russell also with 1914 and 1870, I don't know, he also predicted a lot of stupid things. But Russell also started to believe too much in himself and that he can predict future and stuff like that. So it's just getting weirder and weirder with those guys. And then, of course, the idea of 1975. I was born after that, but my parents were in the middle of it because they were baptized, I believe, in 74. So they were in the middle of it. My dad stopped with his education for learning to be a teacher and stuff like that. Luckily, he didn't sell the house and stuff like that. But he stopped with his education. Many people sold their houses and whatever. And even now, JWs are attacking me also privately that no one ever said that the end will come in 1975. But they predicted it. It was first introduced in 1966 already. Because the published timetable resulting from the independent study gives the date of man creation as 4026 BCE. According to this trustworthy Bible chronology, 6,000 years from man's creation will end in 1975. And the seventh period of 1,000 years of human history will begin in the fall of 1975. Russell was also the fall, the 1st of October, he said. So 6,000 years of main existence on earth will soon be up. Yes, within this generation. We have to keep the generation thing alive. Millions now living will never die. So this generation, blah, blah, blah. How appropriate it would be Jehovah God to make of this common seventh period of 1,000 years Sabbath period of rest and release, blah, blah, blah. It would not be a mere chance or accident, but would be according to the loving purpose of Jehovah God for the reign of Jesus Christ, the Lord of the Sabbath, to run parallel with the 7th millennium of man's existence. It's from Life, Everlasting and Freedom of the Sons of God, 1966, page 26. Does God's rest day parallel the time man has been on earth since his creation? Apparently so. In what year then would the first 6,000 years of man's existence and also the 6,000 years of God's rest day come to an end? Again, 6,000 years. The year 1975. It means that within a relatively few years we will witness the fulfillment of the remaining prophecies that have to do with the time of the end. Written in the Awake 1966, 8th of October. For the ones who want to research, do your research, please. So, it didn't take the brothers very long to find the chart beginning on page 31, showing that 6,000 years again of man's existence end in 1975. Discussion of 1975 overshadowed everything. Other people say it could be, we don't know. But we're not gonna be specific. So then, of course, we had some people I don't know his name. Oh yeah, Charles Sinutko on the convention. He said, just think, brothers, there are only about 90 months left because 6,000 years of man's existence on earth is completed. He said this in, I believe, 1968. So, do you remember what we learned last summer? The majority of people living today will probably be alive when Armageddon breaks out. And there are no resurrection hopes for those that are destroyed then. He was saying that together with another person, and he says, stay alive till 75. Yes, that's what I want to say. That's the brother, Charles Sinutko. Well, now, as Jehovah's Witnesses, and there's an audio file of this. If you want it, contact me. I send you the link for the audio file. He said, well, now, as Jehovah's Witnesses, as runners, even though some of us have become a little weary, it almost seems as though Jehovah has provided meat in due season, because he's held up before all of us a new goal, a new year, something to reach out for, and it just seems it has given all of us so much more energy and power in this final burst of the finish line. And that's the year 1975. Well, we don't have to guess what the year 1975 means if we read the Watchtower I just quoted earlier. And don't wait till 1975. The door is going to be shut before then. As one brother put it, stay alive to 75. Not staying alive from the Bee Gees, stay alive till 75. So people, here you see in great detail that also 1968, August 15, Watchtower. What about all this talk concerning the year 1975? Their interest has been kindled by the belief that 1975 will mark the end of 6,000 years of human history since Adam's creations. They are giving us great detail to prove that 1975 was really the end of the 6,000 years, and it will end in 1975. So, yes, we know one thing now for sure. No, two things. Jehovah Witnesses governing bodies claim to be the only channel of Jehovah. Yes, they also call themselves prophets. And yes, they are also prophets who are foretelling the future. We have seen it now in two simple things. 1925, you get a car, you get a car. Rutherford was his time far ahead. He's like Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, Abraham, you get a car, Isaac, you get a car, Job. And of course, 1975. And LED, for example, isn't predicting the future with a number, but with, if you say we are in the last days of the last days of the final days of the last days of the last days of the last days, then you give me the impression that it's going to be only maybe a few years. So that's also speculating about the future and future events. They always hide behind, only Jehovah knows, and Jesus even don't know when it's going to be time for Armageddon. Only Jehovah knows, but everything in the literature is based on keeping people towing the line, get back in line, because every second it can happen. So you have to be prepared. Wear the helmet, wear the shield, wear the spear. And they're gonna rehearse that so many times that Jehovah Witnesses are so, it's almost schizophrenic, that they always think, oh, there's someone there every time, every moment. Oh, they read something, oh, Russia's invading Ukraine, now it's the end. Or COVID breaks out, oh, that's the signal, now we're getting close to Armageddon. But the governing body is only trying to trick you with their mind games of that feeling of urgency, that something is gonna happen and you have to be prepared. And like I said, LED also said last days, last days, last days. Then you're insinuating something that's not there. But now they are a little bit smarter and they hide behind things, and things they say, they do it on video, and videos you can delete more easily than the old literature. And although they try to delete all the old literature, we all have that old literature, and it's all written down on websites, on whatever. So they can't erase that, and they are going mad about that because it's biting them. Because no one can answer me the question, what if your religion is based on false prophets? Because Jehovah is very, very clear in Deuteronomy 18:21. How will we know that Jehovah hasn't spoken the word? When the prophet speaks in Jehovah's name and the word is not fulfilled. Those things I just mentioned aren't fulfilled at all. So your whole religion, and I'm sorry for that you find out now. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, but it's hard to accept, but your whole faith is based on false prophecies, on a track record of more than 120 years, 100 years of false prophecies. Nothing they prophesied has come true. Nothing. So if they are God's channel, if they are God's only channel, how can you mess it up big time? Do you believe someone who's wrong one time? I don't lose trust in someone if he's wrong for one time. I don't lose trust in someone who's wrong for maybe 2 times. But if he is wrong all the time, is that the person I go to get my advice? Is that the person I'm gonna follow if things become dangerous? Where my life depends on it? No. And that's the whole thing and the whole goal also of this channel, that you start thinking for yourself, that you are feeling strong enough that every answer is in your own, that you can tap into your body, into a library, Google of every answer you need. It's all inside us, but we just need the courage to start our own feeling and our own thinking. Because this isn't feeling right. That I was a part of also. They threw sand in my eyes also. I was following something that had a track record of being wrong every single time. And you claim to be prophets, you want to be prophets, you say you're the only channel. Do you think that God's communicate in a way that the governing body isn't understanding it? Every time God communicated in the Bible, it was clear, it was spot on, it was right. And everything he foretold came true to the finest detail. And now we have people leading an organization, and that's where my pain is. Organization. My pain is not about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not here to make Jehovah's Witnesses look bad. I'm not trusting the organization, and everyone who leaves the organization, who is PMO now or VMO or whatever, they don't trust the organization. It's not about Jehovah, it's not about the Bible. You can believe whatever you want, but you don't need that organization. And even stronger, you don't need that organization, because that organization makes sure for the downfall also of yourself. And that's what we try to save you from. So start your critical thinking, do your research, see what went wrong from the start of that religion, and make up your own mind. I wish you all the best with all the research, and we see each other at the next episode. Thank you for watching, share it, like it, and comment on this video, and we see each other on the next episode.